This video will take you through identifying heart structures and is intended for extended students only. Let's recap some of the key structures of the heart covered in topic 9.1.3. We'll start with the outer muscular wall. This is responsible for the contractions that give the heart its pumping properties. Next, muscle tissue called the septum separates the left and right sides of the heart. This keeps oxygenated and deoxygenated blood separate. The four chambers of the heart are named either the left and right atria, which are at the top, or the left and right ventricles, which sit underneath each atria. Each atrium and ventricle is separated by a valve to prevent the backflow of blood and keep it flowing in one direction. On the outside of the heart, you will find the coronary arteries. These are responsible for delivering oxygenated blood to the heart cells themselves, remembering that heart cells also need to carry out respiration and all other cell processes. You're expected to be able to identify these structures and also the major blood vessels of the heart, which you can learn about in our previous videos. Let's now take a look at the valves of the heart. There are two types of valves within the heart, the atrioventricular valves, which separate the atria from the ventricles, so there is one of these on each side of the heart. Next are the semilunar valves. These are located in the entrance to the arteries leaving the heart. The role of all valves is to prevent the backflow of blood and to ensure blood travels in one direction. Make sure you are able to identify the different types of valves in a diagram of the heart. So here you can see an image of the heart that you may be less familiar with, but something you may encounter in an exam. Firstly, orientate yourself with the right and the left side of the heart. Note that the left-hand side always has a thicker muscle wall than the right and will be a mirror image of your own. Now we can start to identify the structures, which are four different valves. The two sets of semilunar valves are located at the entrance of the aorta and the pulmonary artery. So A is the right semilunar valve and B is the left semilunar valve. The atrioventricular valves sit between the atria and the ventricles, so here we can see the right and the left atrioventricular valves. Be sure to include left and right as part of your answer and not simply state semilunar valve, for example. Let's now look at identifying some other structures in the heart in a different image. You are awarded 1 mark for each structure identified, so as before, ensure you take note of the right and the left side of the heart. The septum is here, identified by how it separates the left and the right sides of the heart, keeping oxygenated and deoxygenated blood separate. Here we have the left atrioventricular valve, which separates the atrium from the ventricles. The same can be seen on the right-hand side. The right atrium can be seen here and is recognisable by its circular shape and how it sits above the atrioventricular valve. Finally, the semilunar valves sit by the exit of the ventricles at the entrance of the arteries. They are recognisable by their half-moon shapes. It is a good idea to practice identifying the structures of the heart on many different types of diagrams, as you never know what you might encounter in the exam. In summary, the heart's main structures are the muscular wall, the septum, the atria and the ventricles. The valves of the heart are called the atrioventricular valves, which separate the atria from the ventricles, and the semilunar valves, which separate the ventricles from the arteries. Both sets of valves prevent backflow of blood. You are expected to be able to identify these structures on diagrams of the heart.